Wow, the iPad looks so much better than the GoPro. Hey guys, welcome to this slightly more serious video today where we talk about coronavirus and the pandemic in the world. Now, I know a lot of people don't really take this seriously, like, people who cause xenophobia from all the dumb things they do on the streets by just deliberately coughing at Asian people and yelling corona as Asians walk past them, or it's just awful. It's just awful. And there are a few things that I really want to talk about. I actually have them written down on my phone. So one thing that I really want to talk about is that on Thursday, which was the 12th of March, I was actually in Brussels, and I received an email from my literature lecturers, getting an email saying that you have seen from latest news that all classes and education-related activities at the university level are cancelled until the end of March. We are still waiting to hear specific instructions with regard to online learning possibilities, so I cannot say anything about that at the moment. I will say that I'm currently reviewing how to set up an online version of your exam so that it can still take place on Monday the 23rd. I'll be in touch again about how you can access the lecture next week and what we can do about seminars once I hear anything from UVA, which is where I'm studying at. And then I got another email saying that my seminar tutor emailed us telling us that we don't have class because our seminars are on Friday, and my lecturer sent out the COVID-19 email on Thursday. Actually, my group, I'm in group 4, it doesn't really matter, but like my group is the only group that has literature class on Fridays. Every other literature group, so there's 4 literature group classes, 3 literature groups all have class on Tuesday, and we're the only group that has class on Friday. And I think in this term we have had 6 literature classes, I think, and we've had about 3 out of those 6 literature classes canceled, which is pretty wacky. We're the only seminar group that has 3 out of 6 seminar classes canceled, so it's kind of unfair because other people might have gotten 6 seminars and we've only gotten 3. So that's a little heads up. But another heads up that I really want to talk about is that how people reacted to that email about people saying that university level education is canceled and your exams will be postponed and stuff like that. I just really want to talk about, just as an Asian student studying in Europe, I just think that it's really weird to see how people react differently versus when you're in Hong Kong or when you're in like the Netherlands, for example, because that's where I am. Because my friends still in high school back where I studied in Hong Kong, they didn't have school since like the end of January, I think, and it's like March now, so they've had about like 13 weeks of online schooling, and we are only due for about 2 weeks because the end of March is in like 2.5 weeks, so we're only due for like 2.5 weeks of suspension. Now, I genuinely don't think that corona is just suddenly going to clear up after 2.5 weeks. I really don't even know if I'm going to come back at all, like, to be fair. Like, I don't think corona is just going to stop in about 2 weeks. So, like, in a more realistic way, people are actually seeing that COVID-19 is going to be up until August. So, which I'll be gone by then because now you guys are going to know that I actually won't be studying here anymore. For the second year, I'll be somewhere else. But there will be a time and place for me to publicly announce it in a more detailed video explaining why I'm doing that. But just first of all, it's just that I have to move out first, and I just need to bring my stuff back. So I actually am going back to Thailand tomorrow, which is Monday the 16th of March. So yeah, that's one thing. So, I don't really know if I'm even going to come back like anytime soon. I mean, you have to leave Thailand every 30 days, but the longest I could stay for would be a month. So, let's say that I come back at the end of April, then I'd only have about a month and a half left for my friends, my classes, my life in Amsterdam before that's all over. But that's not the main point that we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how people react differently to COVID-19. And I think one of the ways that people definitely react differently that I've noticed is they're more worried about their exams. They're worried about how inefficient the uni is at giving them, information on how procedures are going to be made, how your exams are going to proceed, or your grades, and just things like that. And when I first I have my WhatsApp on me because I just want to look through all the texts that I received that day, because this is a group chat with about 65 people in our first year, I guess. Well, most of the people in our first year. And one of the texts are, so you guys caught anything about the measures government's taking against corona, limiting more than 100 people in any form? I wonder how the university is going to take the exams, or rather how we're going to take them. And people just start talking about how they're panicking, and God, how will they manage the exams? And guess I won't have to give my speech, because we were supposed to be giving speeches during that week that were supposed to be graded for one of our classes. And people are actually freaking out. Oh wow, hopefully things don't get too disorganized. And then people were talking about emailing your seminar tutors for more information, which I honestly think is pretty selfish in a way, because your seminar tutors, your lecturers are learning about this information just as quick as you are. They're not like any step further ahead of you, because whatever you hear, it's all down to like the education bureau, I guess. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but whatever the education bureau says or gives the unis give down to the lecturers, seminar tutors, and then the lecturers, seminar tutors give it down to you. So they're only passing on the information they know. Like, they wouldn't withhold any information from you, because there's no reason why they would do that, and it's really awful. Like, people are just saying, should we email this person, should we email that person? Like, it's kind of unfair, because they don't know anything. Like, they're also struggling to find answers for you. And I just, in that moment, I couldn't help but feel really awful for my seminar tutors and lecturers, who must be getting tons of emails from students who are just panicking. People are just thinking they'll adjust the percentages to your take-home papers. People are questioning why you're going to be tested on things that you've already done every week. And then they're going to start petitions. And there's things that are saying, whatever happens, happens. Y'all just try and not to worry or think about it too much, to be honest. Now, I really agree with this person who decided to talk about it, because honestly, at that point, I was just pretty pissed, and I didn't reply. I didn't say anything in a text, because honestly, I was already like pretty pissed at just reading it, from looking at people's reaction on all they care about during the lockdown, or during the closure of unis, is their grades. Now, okay, I know that your grades matter to you, but this is a government situation to close down a uni, so there's no way that it could be your fault on something that you couldn't control. It just makes no sense. Like, the school can't penalize you for something that is out of your control. It's the government's implementation. It's not you choosing not to show up for your exams or anything. And I just think that, there are people out there who are losing their families, losing their loved ones, and these students are just here panicking about themselves. And I just think that's really, really selfish, and I can't help but feel that you really shouldn't be doing that, which is why I just can't agree on some of my friends' points of view, because my grandma is like almost 80 years old, I think. I actually don't know how old my grandma is, but my grandma's pretty old, and I wouldn't dare go back to Hong Kong, because I would have to be in self-quarantine for 14 days, first of all, at home. I'd have to fly back from Amsterdam to Hong Kong, and I'd either have to transit in Paris. And Paris got over 7,000 COVID-19 cases, and I would not dare in a million years bring it back to Hong Kong if I ever would in a million years contract that virus. There's some people that just can't live with it. Like, if anybody that old could contract that virus, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't live to see it. And that kind of nightmare guilt would be written on me for the rest of my life. Like, I would never forgive myself. And I just don't think that worrying about your grades right now is the right thing to do. There are people whose loved ones are, like I said, they're dying, they're contracting the virus, and they can't survive it. Now, I almost want to say that I'm not saying that young people like us are like invincible or that we're strong enough, because there are like 16-year-olds, there are kids who contract the virus and are in the ICU. But I'm just saying, think about your parents, think about your grandparents. You know, they can't, they don't really stand a chance against it. Like, it is a real danger to people with low immune systems, underlying health conditions, or if they're just plain old. And I would be guilt-ridden for the rest of my life if I contracted coronavirus and gave it to any of my family and they didn't live to see the end of it. So I just have to say that worrying about my grades is not at all on my list of priorities. I have my family and myself. I have, because, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but I get sick all the time. So I have to worry about my family first. I have to worry about my health first before I can worry about my grades, because something that the government has implemented on universities is out of my control. So there's no way the uni can penalize me for it, because it just makes no sense. And then people says, guys, I think speculating is not the best. Now, I don't know what this person means in terms of speculating, but there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, I just went through the whole text, and I just think that people are too concerned about their exams, even though it's something out of their control. It's out of the uni's control, it's out of the lecturer's control, and I've just heard people around me, like my best friend, for example, she studies in London, and she's been complaining about, you know, how inefficient the uni is at giving out exam updates and things like that. And I've been hearing things from my friends as well, saying that my uni is inefficient at giving out not advice, but like information on COVID-19 and the steps you take after this whole study online thing is implemented. And now I just don't think that should be in the first interest of people right now. Like I said earlier, the teachers only know what the government tells them. And so it's like government, I don't know why I started with the middle finger, government, Ministry of Education, teachers, schools, teachers, and then students, you know. And we're only getting the information that we're passed down, and your lecturers, your teachers have no reason to withhold information from you, because I'm sure they want you to know as well. And it's just out of your control. There's nothing you can do about it. And I just don't think you should be worrying about your exams or your grades right now, because like I said, family, people's lives are at stake here. So what are you guys doing? Honestly, I don't know what's going on with people. I really don't. And people are trying to leave this country now. I'm not gonna lie, I am going to Thailand on Monday night, which is about less than 24 hours from now. I don't know when this video is gonna come out, but you get the idea. You know, and recently I've tried to not spread awareness, but I've just tried to tell people about the realistic way. Just give people a realistic point of view of how COVID-19 is actually affecting the world, because actually back in January, like, I've already noticed that COVID-19 was a problem, because it started in China in January when I was in Montreal, and that was a long time ago. It's March now. And I started to worry about COVID-19 back in January. And I asked my friends here in the Netherlands, I was like, should we be worried about COVID-19? You know, is it gonna turn into a worldwide problem? They're like, no, it's fine, just be chill. And I just don't think Europeans in general, now I can't say for everybody, but I just don't think Europeans in general are aware of the consequences of being ridiculously calm in certain pandemics like this. Okay, Asians, we wear masks. Even people tell us that it's completely useless. You should save them for people who are healthcare workers or medical staff, something like that. And, you know, I've literally been into dire situations where I've almost fallen apart with my friends over COVID-19. And you know, it's, you know, when I started to talk about how people in Amsterdam, like my friends who started panicking suddenly when uni is closed, and I was like saying that this was made pretty clear back in January when like Asia started to panic about COVID-19, and you know, you guys all thought, like not you guys, but like my friends all thought that wearing masks are stupid. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I myself also didn't believe in wearing masks at the beginning of January. I just thought it was dumb because there was clinical scientific proof that it did no help. But I gotta admit, I thought people were stupid when they wore masks out in public because it did nothing. So I gotta admit, I used to think that too. But then if you look at Macau, Singapore, Thailand, Hong Kong, these people all wear masks. Well, I mean, not all of them, but like you see masks as a really common thing in these countries. And look at their death rates compared to Europe right now. I just want you to pause this video, open a new tab, and look at the map. Hong Kong is literally just a border away from China, and Hong Kong's got less than 200 deaths. But if you look at the Netherlands, it's got like 1,000 something deaths. And it's so far away from Italy and China. But all because of traveling, pandemic spreads worldwide. And Europeans don't really care. They're pretty unhygienic. And they just think this is going to be like a whole cold and flu thing. And it's just going to blow over. They don't really understand the risks. Now, I don't speak for everybody, I'm sure. But I just got to speak from people that I know and I've talked to. So, now I hope that my friends will understand why I was genuinely concerned back in January, and my friends just told me to chill, like this is gonna die down, it's not gonna reach the Netherlands, China is so far away from here. Well, it's not fine, because as you guys know now, it's a pandemic, and it's spreading pretty fast in Europe. And I got this reply, from somebody who I know, saying that it's not like people were concerned, but panicking doesn't help. Panicking doesn't help, but panicking gives you a sense of awareness on where you are in your life and just gives you a realization on this is happening now. You can't keep putting this off and feel like it's non-existent. You can't just put it off to the side. Like, this is real, this is happening now. You just gotta admit it. But one sort of panicking that I don't agree to is toilet paper. Why do you panic by toilet paper? But yeah. Masks are only efficient if you're affected and wear them. They won't help if you're healthy and wear them. But there are scientific researches, studies that show masks do help a little bit. It is better than having no protection at all. So that already for me is better than none. And also, with this misinformation that's shared online, it's normal that people are freaking out because they're worried, and posting this won't help it either, except express your bitterness. I'm not expressing bitterness, I'm expressing the truth, reality of how life is right now, because I think people are just trying to see the light of it. Now, I don't have a problem if you get infected with corona, because genuinely it's not my problem. But what is my problem is that when you start infecting people who are old and they won't live to see the end of the corona. That is a problem. And it's not even their fault. If you want to die, I'm not going to stop you, but don't drag others down with you, please. And, people, and then this person kept replying and saying masks don't help. Doctors have been saying this the entire time. And please don't spread stuff like this because it's doing more harm than anything. Now, if you lived in Asia, you will know that people wear masks all the time. We were protesting, we were wearing masks. You're sick, you're wearing masks. You prevent yourself from getting sick because other people around you are sick, you're wearing a mask, okay? I just want to tell you that, an Asian person living in a European country, you really get to see the different perspectives of people and how they view Asians and Europeans and your thoughts. Now, your thoughts and beliefs are always going to be different, and you guys will always encounter something that you don't agree on. And whether it be better or worse, these are one of the things that we don't agree on. And just because this person is telling me that, oh, I'm being selfish because we're all using masks, it's just an Asian thing. I can't express more to you about what we do because that is just a thing. Like, even before coronavirus happened, whenever it was flu season, we'd wear masks anyways, regardless of whether we were sick or not, just to protect ourselves. And I guess, it's just an Asian thing, people are doing it now as well because that's how they protect themselves, or at least it gives them a nice sense of mind. But I just want to remind you guys, if you go back and look at the map, look at Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, Thailand, and then look at all of Europe. Tell me how many is a difference of COVID-19 cases. One really quick thing that I want to mention is that actually today, which was like Sunday, the 15th of March, the government decided to close all the cafes, restaurants, bars, and daycares, primary schools. All schools and daycare centers in the Netherlands are to be shut from Monday until at least April 6th in an effort to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So schools and daycare centers are closed until April the 6th, and then cafes, restaurants, clubs, cafes, saunas, and sports clubs will all close their doors at 6 p.m. on Sunday for 3 weeks. So I was supposed to go to Vapiano tonight for dinner by myself because that's what I wanted before I left for Thailand. But I couldn't do that because it closed at 6, because that's what the government said. And I really do think that it's in the best interest of everybody else to prevent a large amount of influx of people just moving in and out to different cafes, stores, and things like that. So I totally agree with the government's decision on this, although a little bit of hindsight would be a little more informative, I guess, because I was about to get on the tram to go to dinner, and that's when my friend texted me and saying that, oh, this restaurant's closed, and I just instantly U-turned out of my way. I was literally about to step on the tram, but then I turned around and walked away. So, maybe a little 30-minute hindsight would have been good, or I just should have checked my mail a little more. But I'm really glad that they did this because I think it is a good preventative measure in a way. So as with the universities, daycares, everything like that, I really do think that closing off everything is good. And as awful it is for, I don't know, maybe the supermarkets are going to be open, I really don't know because I'm leaving anyways and I don't have much food left. But I'm leaving. I have enough food to survive for let's say the next 2 weeks if I were to stay here, but I'm not. And I really don't want to be eating stale noodles for the next 2 weeks if I were here anyways. But I'm just saying that I'm really glad that the government has decided to do this, and I do hope that the supermarkets stay open for people to just buy food in general, and kudos to people who work at the supermarket. I'm very grateful for them to keep them at their jobs, fighting COVID-19 whilst fighting for their lives by serving people in the Netherlands or anywhere around the world. So I just wish them all the best. Lastly, before I leave, I want to tell you guys that you're worth it. Definitely stay hydrated. Cough or sneeze into your elbows. Use tissue to blow your nose and throw the tissue away. Wash your hands with soap. I just tugged on my hair. Wash your hands with soap, and please stay hygienic, guys. It's not that hard to get a shower. It's not that hard to wash your hands. You are what you are. You should be grateful for all you have. If you are really living, in a comfortable place right now, I don't, want to burden anybody, but, I was watching an article today on Instagram about, how the street cleaners in Hong Kong, they're only given 1 mask a day and they have to wash the floors and everything. And their masks would get wet within 20 minutes of work because they would be washing the floors and the water would go back to their masks. And I just felt really guilt-ridden for them because I am privileged and I'm grateful that I am. But there are also things that we can do to help other people, and we have to give what we can. And I just want to remind you all that, we should be grateful for all that we have and try and give back to the community, give back to the poor whenever we can. And always keep in our minds about people who help us be where we are today, people who help us have the streets cleaned so that we can walk, people who help us take out the trash so that our apartment doesn't smell like trash, people who just, are there so that they can help make our lives better. Bus drivers, train operators, people like these who take us where we need to go just so that we don't have to walk, so that they can make our lives better by transporting us to where we need to be. It's just something that we should be grateful for because a lot of people don't get that kind of privilege, and I just want to give my heart out to them, and I'm just really grateful for all that I have. Now, I've been talking on for way too long. So I just want to let you guys know, stay hygienic and stay safe. Take care, and you're worth it. Bye!